Hey, welcome back everyone. We're going to have another jam session with our Foetid Bloat Drone. We've been working on this a couple of sessions, and today we're going to focus on a few more sections of this model, starting off with some of the metallic areas. You can see there's a number of fans, there's a number of spikes, and there's a number of cables here. We're going to use some of our Vallejo metal color steel and base these in to start off with. Getting a lot of our metals in here, and on the back of the fan blades I'm actually just going to hit the edges. We're going to leave a lot of the shadow there. These aren't very visible, but we just want kind of a hint of metal coming through. Alright, now that we've got our metals laid in, we're going to go over all of those metals with a bit of our Magimix. This is a 1-to-1-to-1 mix of Nuln Oil, Agrax, Earthsahde, and Lahmian medium. And we're going to use this to knock out some of the luster from our metallics. Even though it's sped up, you might see that I'm a little sloppy with some of the metallics and some of the wash here. That's okay around the purple. We're actually going to go back in with our violet, so we'll touch those back up where it's gotten a little bit messy. Alright, at this point we're going to get out our Vallejo model color violet, And we're going to start touching up some of those areas that need a little bit of touch up from our metallic application, as well as just a few extra areas that I decided in the meantime that I actually want to bring up to purple, whether it's a reddish purple or a bluish purple. We're going to hit the bile spewers here, a couple of cables, touch up some of the armor, touch up some of the other cables, and we'll do this as quickly as possible. Alright, now we're going to bring in some Averland Sunset, our old favorite. We're going to hit a few of the tubes and touch up a couple of spots here with that Averland Sunset and set up for a few other areas on our model. Alright, at this point we're actually going to break out the airbrush, starting out with some Sunset Purple. We're going to use the airbrush to do a couple of things, starting off with working in the flesh tones on the back of this. The purple is a step above the violet tone, taking it more towards a reddish tone. And then to finish highlighting out the flesh, we're going to break out Emperor's Children. This is a pink color. And we're going to make that just a little bit more high value, a little bit more pink along the flesh. Hit the high tones, hit the musculature, and just kind of do what feels right. This might take some practice to get used to, but use a lot of references from nature. Things like gross stuff off of the ocean floor, or disgusting animals from sci-fi might be some good examples of whatever the heck this thing is that I'm painting. It's pretty gross. Larva might be a good option. Who knows? Alright, now we're going to break out our Vallejo Blue Violet. This is a more blue-toned purple tone, and we're going to hit the bile spewers on the front of the bloat drone, and we're also going to hit the little hypodermic needle thing there as well. The weapons I'm doing in kind of like a bluish glow, so we're going all around the tips of the weapons. And as a final airbrush step, we're going to bring in some Citadel Blue Horror to finish out some highlights on these weapon parts. Quick intermediate step here, we're going to get out some Vallejo Black and circle in the ends of the weapons, as well as fill in a couple of the holes on the end of the hypodermic needle weapon. Alright, at this point we're going to start working on some horns. And we're going to start off by making sure that they're coated with a bit of Acryl Mahogany. And then we're going to move through a couple of other colors, including Averland Sunset and Ivory. So for this week, we're going to focus on the inner horns on the turbines, and we're going to start bringing up the mid-tone using a bit of Averland Sunset. And for the final part, I bring in some ivory, also from Pro Acryl. This is important to note that I'm just feathering this in and doing a little bit of wet blending. So I'm feathering in little wicks of paint, blending it in with the existing paint, and moving a little bit faster than it's drying. Going back and forth, kind of going between my mid-tone, my high tone, and even my dark tone here until I'm happy. So feel free to play around with this. We're trying to make these look mostly like the horns that we already have around the crown of the bloat drone. Alright, before we end today's jam session, let's knock out one piece of gold non-metallic here on the side. There's a small fly icon on each of the bile spewers. We're gonna go ahead and work in some of our mahogany, Averland Sunset, and ivory here with just a touch titanium white at the end. One small detail I'm going to knock out is going to be this small little horn right below the eye, and we're going to use those same 3 colors to knock that out real quick since we've got them out on the palette anyway. There are a couple more horns all around the little blower fans that we'll take care of on our next session, but making good progress. We've put in a couple of hours on our bloat drone at this point. Alright, and there you have it. It's a great session working on the bloat drone. We got a lot done today. We worked in some blue violets, we worked in some red violets, and we knocked out some non-metallic and bone work as well as some true metallics. Next week we'll bring you another video, and I'll see you on Twitch over the weekends as always. Have a great week, and paint some minis.